The news of Charlie Kirk's death inspired people around the country to take to social media to voice their thoughts on the shooting and the state of our politics. And in some cases, it's been met with swift public reaction. There are now calls for a Wake County teacher to be fired for a social media post on Facebook. WRAL's Kirsten Clark spoke with legal analysts who say the request is in conflict with free speech rights.
This is a post that Idris Abdul Aziz allegedly shared on social media after Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. We have blurred some of the strong language in the post. Now, it has since been deleted, and we haven't been able to find Abdul Aziz on social media. But the situation raises questions about whether Wake County policy is in conflict with free speech. The post reads, in part, quote, "Black people stating RIP for a bigot white supremacist is crazy talk. What did he say about black women again?" Words about the late Charlie Kirk, drawing backlash from parents now asking for Idris Abdul Aziz to be fired. The post reflects many others on social media shared after Kirk's death, referencing comments the political activist made during campus debates or on the Charlie Kirk show.
If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence? Or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily wholesome. It creates resentment.
We confirmed that Abdul Aziz is still actively employed at Millbrook High School, where he has taught since 2018. The Wake County Public School System declined to comment on the post due to state law, but a spokesperson shared the school system's social media guidelines, which state that employees who share inappropriate or offensive content via their personal social media accounts may face disciplinary action. I sat down today with North Carolina employment lawyer Laura Noble, who says public employees like Abdul Aziz are protected by the First Amendment.
No matter how much you disagree with it or agree with it, it is not the government's role, according to our Constitution, to take action against people who choose to express themselves in a personal way on whatever platform they choose.
A sentiment echoed by the vice president of the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression.
This is where we get into the issue of the free speech culture, and that we have to sometimes encounter speech that we don't like or that makes us uncomfortable. And that's the price, I guess, of being in a free society.
I also tried reaching out to Abdul Aziz about the post and related concerns. I was not able to reach him. In Raleigh, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
This is just one example of someone's job being threatened over their comments on social media regarding Charlie Kirk. We've actually seen people fired in North Carolina and beyond. A PR employee for the Carolina Panthers was fired for his posts about Kirk. An employee at Clemson University was fired for their posts. Multiple Florida educators and even a wildlife employee were all fired for their posts. It's important to say there is a deliberate effort underway to target people who post about Kirk in ways that are seen as offensive. Look at this post from Laura Loomer, an influential figure on the right with direct access to President Trump. In a response to a post about people cheering Kirk's death, she wrote, "Send me their names, let's get them fired." But you probably know this is far from a new phenomenon. The act of targeting someone for what they say on social media has been around for years, and it's not specific to one political party. A sheriff's deputy in the Kansas City area was fired for a post that was anti-deportation. An attorney in Chicago was fired for sending anti-Semitic messages. A fire department employee in St. Louis was fired for posting insensitive remarks about a police shooting. A school board member in Texas was fired for using curse words in a social media post. A city employee in Illinois was fired for posting racist comments, and then that employee was actually rehired. And that is just scratching the surface. There is a never-ending list of examples. Some made national news, but others didn't. There is a legitimate debate to be had about targeting people for what they post, if people should try to alter other people's lives for something that they said on social media. And where you land on that probably depends on what you think about the comments made by the person in question. But we should answer a more central question. Is this allowed? Can employers, private or public, fire you for what you say on social media? I spoke with someone at the ACLU.
There are certainly different protections for private versus public employees. If it's personal speech on a matter of public concern, that is the type of speech that is often afforded the most protections under the First Amendment, alongside political speech. And the gist of it is that a lot of the protections for private employees are variable depending what state you're in. And in North Carolina, we do not have great public or private employee protections.
Yeah, North Carolina is a right to work state, right? Meaning companies can fire employees for any reason. There are more protections for public employees, but that doesn't mean they aren't being fired for what they say. We've seen different situations play out in different ways. Earlier this year, for example, a state lawmaker rejected an invite to a town event in Apex because of profane voicemails left by a town official. That official kept their job. The town's communications director told WRAL Apex does not place unconstitutional restrictions on an employee's First Amendment right to engage in free speech that falls outside of their job duties. But 2 years ago in Greensboro, a firefighter was fired for making anti-LGBTQ statements on social media. We've seen similar situations in other states. One almost made it to the U.S. Supreme Court. A teacher in Massachusetts was fired for posts people said were transphobic. She filed a lawsuit claiming this violated her right to freedom of speech. And in June, the Supreme Court declined to take up the case. The First Amendment gives us freedom of speech, but how that actually plays out is very nuanced. Obscenity, fighting words, libel, incitement, threats, fraud, defamation, social media policies, company policies, considerations for time and place and manner, spoken versus written speech, speech as action, speech as money. The nuance is complicated and confusing. And as we've seen, there are inconsistent applications of the First Amendment argument. And that's all the more reason to be thoughtful about what we say, guys.